Have you ever felt like you're stuck, not just physically but deep within your soul? It's like you're going through the motions of life, but nothing feels right. The things that once brought joy and fulfillment now seem dull and lifeless. This is what we call a spiritual rut, and it's more common than you might think. It's that space where you feel disconnected from your purpose, your passion, and sometimes even yourself. You might be in a spiritual rut without even realizing it. So let's explore some signs that can help you identify where you are. The first sign that you're in a spiritual rut is that everything feels repetitive. Life has become a cycle of the same tasks, conversations, and even thoughts. You wake up, do what needs to be done, but nothing excites you. You're not moved by what you're doing, and it feels like your soul is just on autopilot. There's a lack of inspiration. Have you noticed this in your own life, where even the things you once loved seem like they've lost their spark? It's not that these things no longer have meaning, it's that your spirit is craving something new, something deeper. This sense of repetition is your soul's way of saying, it's time for a shift.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
The second sign is emotional numbness. When you're in a spiritual rut, your emotions flatten out. It's like you can't feel the highs or the lows, you're just kind of existing in this gray area. Nothing excites you, but nothing deeply bothers you either. You're just there. It's a form of detachment, but not in the healthy, meditative way. It's more like your soul has checked out, and you're left in this neutral, uninspired space. And the hardest part about this numbness? You know you're supposed to feel more, but you just don't. What would happen if you allowed yourself to feel deeply again? That's a tough question, but it's one worth asking, because your emotions are the language of your soul. When you stop feeling, it's a clear sign your spiritual connection has dimmed. The third sign is that you've lost your sense of curiosity and wonder. Remember when you used to be curious about everything? When you wanted to explore, learn, and ask questions about the deeper meanings of life? When you're in a spiritual rut, that curiosity fades. You stop asking questions. You stop seeking answers. It's like you've lost the childlike wonder that once kept you engaged with the world. When was the last time you felt truly amazed by something? If you can't remember, that's a big sign your spirit is calling for renewal. Curiosity is the fuel for spiritual growth. When that fire goes out, it's time to reignite it. The fourth sign of a spiritual rut is that you start feeling disconnected from yourself and others. You might be surrounded by people, even loved ones, but there's this invisible wall between you and them. You feel alone, even when you're not physically alone. This isn't just social isolation, it's a spiritual disconnection. It's as if you've lost touch with your inner world, and because of that, you can't fully connect with the outer world either. Have you been feeling distant from yourself lately? Maybe you've stopped checking in with your inner thoughts, your desires, your dreams. When was the last time you sat with yourself and truly asked, "How am I doing?" That question alone can break the spell of disconnection. Let's continue exploring this feeling of disconnection. The fifth sign you're in a spiritual rut is a lack of motivation or passion. This might sound familiar. You wake up, you go through the motions of the day, but you don't feel driven by anything. You're not inspired to pursue your goals or dreams, and the things that once excited you seem like chores. This isn't just physical exhaustion, it's spiritual fatigue. Your soul is tired because it's not being nourished. You might even find yourself wondering, what's the point? This question is not a sign of failure, it's a sign that your soul is searching for something deeper, something that will reignite your purpose. Let's take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you felt truly passionate about something? Not just interested, but passionately driven, where your heart was fully in it. If it's been a while, that's okay. But it's also a sign that something inside you is yearning for change. When you're in a spiritual rut, it can feel like the universe has closed off possibilities, but the truth is, your soul is trying to show you that the life you're living isn't in alignment with your deeper truth anymore. That's why everything feels off. It's time to get real with yourself. What are you holding on to that's no longer serving you? Is it a routine, a belief, a fear? Sometimes the only way to reignite passion is to let go of what's keeping you stuck. Now, it's important to understand that being in a spiritual rut isn't a permanent state. It's a phase, a transition period. And while it might feel like you're lost, it's actually an opportunity to realign with your purpose. Your soul is speaking to you through this rut. It's telling you to stop, reflect, and reevaluate where you're headed. If you find yourself feeling lost or numb, it's because your soul is asking you to slow down and listen. Sometimes we're so focused on pushing forward that we forget to pause and ask ourselves whether we're moving in the right direction. Here's the deeper question: what is your soul trying to tell you right now? This isn't just a surface-level inquiry. Your soul speaks in subtle ways through emotions, through that gut feeling, through the dreams you've been having, or even through the discomfort you feel in certain situations. The spiritual rut you're in is your soul's way of urging you to pay attention, to listen, and to course correct if necessary. It's asking you to stop avoiding the truth that's been whispering in the background of your life. And here's where the true wisdom comes: in the moment you acknowledge that you're in a spiritual rut, you've already taken the first step toward breaking free from it. Awareness is power. By simply recognizing that you're stuck, you start the process of unraveling the knots that have kept you bound. The key now is to lean into this process, to trust that this phase is not a setback but an invitation to grow deeper into your spiritual path. When nothing feels enjoyable, it's easy to spiral into doubt and frustration. But what if this lack of enjoyment is actually a gift? What if it's showing you what no longer resonates with your soul? What if the emptiness you're feeling is actually space being created for something new to emerge? Think about that for a second. The boredom, the numbness, the disconnection, it's all part of clearing out the old, making room for the new. But here's the catch: you have to be willing to let go of the old before the new can enter. Now that we've uncovered these signs and begun to understand what they mean, let's talk about what comes next. Once you recognize that you're in a spiritual rut, the most important step is to actively reconnect with your soul's purpose. This doesn't mean you need to immediately know what your next big mission is. It's about taking small, intentional steps to get back in touch with your inner self. One of the first things you can do is invite stillness into your life. The modern world is filled with distractions, constant noise, endless tasks, and an unrelenting pressure to always be doing something. When you're in a spiritual rut, it's easy to feel like you should fix everything by doing more. But the truth is, sometimes the greatest progress comes from doing less. In stillness, you create the space for your soul's voice to come through. When was the last time you truly sat in silence without trying to distract yourself? Your soul is waiting for you in the quiet moments. It's when you stop running, stop trying to force things, that you can hear what your spirit is really saying. This is where meditation comes in. Even if you're not used to meditating, start with just a few minutes each day. Sit in a quiet space, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Let go of the need to control the experience. Just be. Over time, you'll notice that this simple act of stillness begins to break the cycle of numbness, and little by little, the connection to your soul becomes stronger. Another key to moving beyond this spiritual rut is to reignite your sense of wonder and curiosity. Remember earlier when we talked about losing that childlike curiosity? Well, it's time to get that back. Start asking questions again, not just about life's big mysteries, but about the little things. What makes you feel alive? What fascinates you? What have you always wanted to explore but never made time for? Curiosity is the spark that lights the flame of spiritual growth. It reminds you that there's more to life than just going through the motions. It's also important to embrace change. A spiritual rut often happens because we've outgrown the life we're living. But change, especially big change, can be scary. Your soul knows that in order to move forward, you need to let go of the things that are no longer in alignment with who you're becoming. What are you afraid to let go of right now? Whether it's a relationship, a job, or even an old version of yourself, the faster you release it, the more space you create for something new to flow into your life. But here's something crucial: you don't have to do this alone. When you're in a spiritual rut, it can feel isolating, like no one understands what you're going through. But the truth is, many people around you have probably experienced this same feeling at some point in their lives. Reach out to others, friends, mentors, or spiritual communities. Share what you're going through. Often, just speaking your truth aloud can open up new perspectives, and you'll find that the support and wisdom of others will guide you through this time. Finally, let's talk about the power of gratitude and mindfulness in pulling yourself out of a rut. It's easy to get caught up in what's missing, what's not working, or what feels off. But when you shift your focus to gratitude, you begin to see the beauty in the small moments. Gratitude isn't just about being thankful for the big things, it's about recognizing the magic in the ordinary. What are you grateful for today? Take a moment to think about it. Even in the midst of a spiritual rut, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude brings you back to the present moment, and that's where your soul thrives. The future might feel uncertain, and the past might hold regrets, but the present is where you find peace. When you practice mindfulness, you return to your breath, to your body, and to the moment that is unfolding right now. This is where your soul can be heard most clearly in the present. So if you're feeling stuck, if nothing feels enjoyable, and you've recognized these signs in your own life, know this: your spiritual rut is not the end of the road. It's a wake-up call, an invitation to realign with your soul's purpose. Everything you've been feeling is leading you toward a deeper, more fulfilling spiritual path. Trust that this phase is temporary, and that by acknowledging these signs, you've already started to break free. Are you ready to take that first step? You have the power to move out of this spiritual rut, and once you do, you'll discover that the life your soul is calling for is so much richer and more expansive than you ever imagined. This is your moment to rise, to reconnect, and to remember the incredible, powerful being that you truly are.